Who are these kids involved in the biggest prisoner swap since the Cold War? Why did President Putin greet them in Spanish? And how did we prove that their parents are indeed Russian spies and not your average next-door Argentinian couple? My name is Christo Grozev and I investigate Russian espionage, influence operations and disinformation. On August 1st, after years of backroom negotiations, the biggest prisoner swap since the Cold War took place in Turkey. I was privileged to have been somewhat involved with it. 26 people were swapped, including spies, hackers, fraudsters, 2 innocent children, a convicted killer, and a bunch of activists and journalists. The mystery with these 2 children caught in the swap starts 2 years prior. In 2022, Slovenian authorities arrested an Argentinian couple after a tip from an allied intelligence agency. The reason? They were suspected to be Russian spies masquerading as Argentinians for more than a decade. A suspicion that was reinforced when, during a raid on the couple's home, police found hundreds of thousands in cash, stacked up in their freezer. When intelligence agencies catch spies, they don't usually tell you why they think they're spies. They don't want to disclose their methods, means, sources, capabilities. This means that independent investigations by journalists are even more important to shed light on the truth. Slovenian authorities claim that the couple were Russian illegals. But how do we know that for sure? And what are illegals? Illegals are deeply embedded spies with a cover identity, operating without diplomatic cover and without direct ties to Moscow. Since the invasion of Ukraine, Western countries have expelled hundreds of legal Russian spies. Those working in embassies in Europe and around the world under guise of being diplomats or military attachés or first secretaries of the culture department. This may have forced Moscow to rely more heavily on illegals, like our couple here. They appeared to be a normal family, a middle-class Argentinian couple living as expats in tiny picturesque Slovenia. The mother worked as an online art gallery owner. The father had an IT business, and they spoke to each other in Spanish all the time, not only in public, but even at home to their children. Despite Slovenia's claims, we had no objective proof that the couple were indeed spies, nor did we know their real Russian identities. But I was determined to find out. So I started where I always start, looking for digital breadcrumbs on the internet. As you would expect from trained spies, they had a very sterile online presence, and there were no pictures of their faces anywhere online. All I could find was a photo of the back of the woman's head on her LinkedIn profile. While that was not much, it was a starting point. When investigating spies who are trained to cover their tracks well, I usually look for clues among people who are less trained in subterfuge. Their children, parents, classmates, colleagues, neighbors. In this case, I thought the couple might have appeared online at some of the photographs published by their children's school. So I used the following special search query to isolate the names of their children and hope to find them mentioned on Slovenian websites. And this is how we identified the children's school in Ljubljana. Next, I isolated the search only to parent-attended events posted by the school. Eventually, I found a photo of a person with striking similarities to the person on the LinkedIn profile. Look at the hair, it has exactly the same texture, shape and length. Also, both of them have exactly the same watch on the same arm. Pretty promising so far. But the most damning detail was that both photographs had exactly the same dark green shirt, with the sleeves bunched up in exactly the same way. Finally, I was able to put a face to the fake identity. Now I could start searching for that face in the Russian password database. And what would you have it? We had a match. Meet Anna Dulceva and Artyom Dulcev, aka the spies next door. Once we found their real identities, uncovering their past became possible. Artyom was born in 1981 in a tiny village in Bashkortostan at the Urals mountain. Now, a tiny village is the preferred place for recruitment of illegals, so that nobody in the future is likely to recognize them from their childhood. His address registration between 2001 and 2006 is at a student dormitory belonging to the Federal Urals University in Yekaterinburg, which gives us a clue that most likely he studied there, and it was there that he was recruited by Russia's foreign intelligence to become an illegal. Anna Yudina was born also in 1981 in the town of Gorky, nowadays Nizhny Novgorod. It is not clear when the two met, but they were married in 2004 in Gorky, and that may mean that either they were a couple before they were recruited or they were paired up after the recruitment, which is not an uncommon practice for Russia's illegal program. Leaked travel data allows us to pinpoint the first time that the couple were sent abroad, probably for a practice trip in 2008. They traveled under fake Austrian passports, using the name Matilda and Wilhelm Aschenbach, and they used for their flight booking the same numbers, the same phones that they had in real life, which is a big mistake. They flew from Russia to Thessaloniki, Greece, which is a favorite first destination for Russian illegals because Russian intelligence services have a logistical hub there. The couple stayed in Greece only for a few months, probably just testing and honing their skills as undercover agents pretending to be foreigners. At the end of 2009, the couple returned to Russia and stayed there until 2011, as seen by a traffic accident with the car driven by Artyom in Moscow in 2011. Notably, it was exactly during this period that Russia's illegal program suffered its biggest setback ever, when 10 Russian illegals were arrested across the United States in an operation called Ghost Stories. After that fiasco, apparently the Dulcevs were told to lie low in Russia and wait until the dust settles, and their Austrian identities were scrapped because they were considered to be burned. They were finally dispatched again in 2012 under freshly issued Argentinian identities, initially to Spain and ultimately finding their final destination in tiny Slovenia. The Dulcevs are a perfect example of how they can operate under the deepest of secrecy for decades, keeping their true identity not only from their new friends, but also even from their children. According to the Kremlin spokesperson, it was only during that flight after the swap to Moscow when they were told that they were the children of Russian spies. This is why when they landed, Putin greeted them in their native Spanish instead of Russian.